A very long time ago, way before there were any towns or cities, the world was just full of wild animals. Among these creatures was a small, fierce hunter, the ancestor of our house cats today. This animal was called the African wildcat. These cats made their homes in the deserts and grasslands of the Middle East and Africa, and honestly, their lives were nothing like the cozy lives of our pets. They didn't have a warm house to curl up in or a bowl of food waiting for them. Every single day was a challenge just to survive. They had to find their own meals, keep themselves safe from bigger animals, and discover a secure spot to rest and raise their kittens. Their world was all about staying alert and following their instincts. These wildcats were amazing hunters with sharp claws and teeth that were perfect for catching small prey. Their bodies were built for stealth and speed, so they could slip silently through tall grass, getting really close to their next meal without making a sound. Their favorite foods were small animals like mice, rats, birds, and lizards. They had incredible hearing to pick up even the tiniest rustle of a mouse in the undergrowth, and their night vision was just fantastic, allowing them to hunt even when it was pitch dark. Their fur was a sandy, striped color which helped them blend in with their dry surroundings. This camouflage was super important for sneaking up on prey and hiding from bigger predators. Life for an African wildcat was mostly spent alone. Unlike lions, which live in groups called prides, these small cats preferred to live and hunt solo. Each one claimed its own territory, marking it with its scent to warn other cats to stay away. This was their private hunting ground, and they defended it fiercely from any intruders. The only time they really wanted to be around other cats was during mating season. A mother cat would raise her kittens by herself, teaching them all the skills they'd need to survive before they grew up and went off to find their own land. These cats were just perfectly adapted to their environment, independent, resourceful, and tough. They didn't need humans at all, and honestly, they probably would have avoided people if they ever saw them. Humans were just another big creature in a world full of dangers and opportunities. The wildcats had everything they needed in their natural habitat, plenty of food to hunt, safe places to shelter in rocks or burrows, and all the skills to survive on their own. They were truly masters of their own world, living by the ancient rules of the wild. Little did they know, though, that a huge change was coming, one that would alter their destiny forever and link their story with ours. The world really started to change when humans began to farm. About 10,000 years ago, people living in a region called the Fertile Crescent in the Middle East stopped wandering and started building settlements. They learned how to grow grains like wheat and barley, and they stored these grains in big buildings called granaries. This was a huge step for people because it meant they finally had a steady supply of food. But, as you can probably guess, this new way of life brought a whole new problem. The stored grain attracted a ton of unwanted visitors. Mice and rats found these amazing stores of food and moved right in. They became a huge pest, eating the grain and spreading diseases. The wildcats living nearby soon noticed what was happening. For a wildcat, these new human villages were basically paradise. The granaries were full of mice and rats, which were their favorite food. It was like an all-you-can-eat buffet. Hunting in the wild was tough work, but here, prey was everywhere and easy to find. The cats were naturally drawn to these places. At first, they were cautious, sticking to the shadows and hunting at night when people were asleep. They weren't interested in people at all, just in the rodents that scurried around the homes and food stores. It was the promise of an easy meal that first brought cats and humans together. At first, people might have been a little wary of these wild animals, but they quickly realized just how helpful the cats were. The cats did a better job of controlling the mice and rats than any trap people could come up with. Farmers noticed that when the cats were around, their precious grain stores were much safer. The mice and rat problem went down and their food supply was protected. People began to see the cats not as a threat, but as a valuable ally. They were a natural and super effective form of pest control. This was the beginning of a brand new relationship, one built on mutual benefit rather than direct interaction. So people started to tolerate the cats. They let them hang around their farms and villages and didn't try to chase them away. Some folks might have even encouraged them by leaving out scraps of food or a bowl of milk. This small act of kindness was actually a big deal for the cats. It meant they could get food without even hunting for it. The bravest and friendliest cats were the ones most likely to get these extra treats. This was the very first step in a long process. The wild hunter was slowly learning that living near humans could be a really good thing. A new chapter in the cat story had begun. The relationship between cats and humans kept growing stronger because honestly it was just useful for both sides. For humans, the benefit was pretty obvious. Cats were the perfect answer to their pest problem. In those early farming communities, protecting the harvest was a matter of life and death. If pests destroyed the grain, people could starve. Cats, with their natural hunting instincts, were way more efficient than any human method for catching rodents. They worked silently and tirelessly, day and night. People didn't have to train them or tell them what to do, the cats just did what came naturally. This made them incredibly valuable partners in these early settlements. For the cats, living near humans had lots of perks too. The biggest one was the steady and reliable source of food. The mice and rats that swarmed around human grain stores were an easy, abundant meal. This meant the cats didn't have to use up as much energy hunting, and they were less likely to go hungry. But food wasn't the only thing humans offered. Human settlements also provided shelter. Barns, sheds, and even the houses themselves gave cats warm, dry places to sleep and raise their kittens. That was much safer than a hole in the ground or a rocky crevice where they'd be exposed to bad weather and bigger predators. This arrangement was kind of like an unspoken deal. The humans provided a safe environment with plenty of food, and in return the cats kept the pests away. It was a perfect example of mutualism, where two different species help each other survive and thrive. This partnership was so successful that it started to spread. As people traveled and traded with other communities, they often took the cats with them. Sailors especially loved cats. Ships were notorious for having rats which would chew through ropes and eat the food supplies. Having a cat on board was essential for protecting the ship and its crew during long sea voyages. This partnership even started a slow process of change in the cats themselves. The wild cats that were naturally less afraid of humans got the most benefits. They were the ones who dared to come closer to the villages, got the extra food scraps, and found the warmest places to sleep. These tamer cats were more likely to survive and have kittens. Over many generations, the cats that lived alongside humans gradually became friendlier and more comfortable around people. The wild, solitary hunter was slowly evolving into a creature that could live in a human world. All because of this simple, helpful deal. The journey from wild hunter to household companion was, well, a really long and gradual one. It wasn't a change that happened overnight. This whole process is called domestication. Unlike dogs, which were actively trained by humans for specific jobs, cats seem to have domesticated themselves. They chose to live near us because it just made sense for them. The cats that were best suited for this new lifestyle were the ones that passed on their genes. The bravest, most curious, and friendliest wildcats were the ones that thrived in human settlements. The shy or aggressive cats would have stayed away, sticking to the wild. This process is called natural selection, but in this case, the environment was the human village. Over thousands of years, this led to small but really important changes in the cats. Physically, domesticated cats started to look a bit different from their wild ancestors. Their bodies became slightly smaller, and even their brains shrank a little. This is actually pretty common in domesticated animals, since they don't need the parts of the brain that deal with constant fear and stress anymore. Their coat colors and patterns also began to change. In the wild, that sandy striped coat was essential for camouflage, but in a village, a cat didn't need to hide as much. New colors and patterns, like black, white, or ginger, started to appear and were passed on to new generations. The biggest changes, though, were in their behavior. Domestic cats developed new ways to communicate with humans. The most famous example is the meow. Wild cats almost never meow at each other. It's actually a sound that kittens use to get their mother's attention. Domestic cats learned that meowing is a really effective way to get a human's attention too. They use it to say they're hungry, want to go outside, or just want some affection. They also developed the purr into a complex social signal. While wild cats do purr, house cats use it way more often, not just when they're content, but also to soothe themselves or show friendliness to people. Another big change was in their social behavior. African wildcats are solitary animals, but domestic cats can live happily in groups, especially if there's enough food to go around. They also became much more tolerant of being handled by people. They learned to enjoy being petted and sitting on a human's lap. That's a huge behavioral shift for an animal that was once a fierce, independent hunter. These changes didn't erase their wild instincts. Our pets still love to hunt and patrol their territory, but they added a new layer of social behavior that let them form strong, affectionate bonds with the humans they chose to live with. After their initial partnership with farmers in the Middle East, the story of the cat began to spread across the globe, intertwined with human history. As civilizations rose and fell, the cat's status changed dramatically, depending on the time and place. They traveled with traders, soldiers, and explorers, finding new homes in new lands. One of the first great civilizations to truly embrace the cat was ancient Egypt. The Egyptians saw cats as magical creatures worthy of great respect and admiration. They were not just useful pest controllers, they were seen as symbols of grace and protection, and were even worshipped as gods. From Egypt, cats traveled to other parts of the world. The Greeks and Romans also valued cats for their hunting skills. The Romans in particular helped spread domestic cats throughout Europe. They took cats with them on their military campaigns to protect their food supplies in their forts and settlements. In Roman art and mosaics, cats are often shown as cherished household pets, calmly sitting in a home environment. This shows that even 2,000 years ago, cats were already making their way from the barn into the house, becoming a more integrated part of family life. They were seen as a symbol of liberty and independence in the Roman world. However, the cat's journey through history was not always a happy one. During the Middle Ages in Europe, their reputation took a dark turn. Superstitions grew, and cats, especially black cats, became associated with witches and evil spirits. This was a terrible time for cats, and many were hunted and killed because of these unfounded fears. This unfortunate period shows how human beliefs and culture can dramatically impact the lives of the animals around them. Thankfully, this dark chapter did not last forever, and the cat's practical value and charming nature eventually helped them regain their place in human society. By the age of sail and exploration, cats were once again seen as essential companions. Every ship of exploration, trade, or war had a ship's cat on board to control the rodent population. They traveled across the Atlantic to the Americas and to the far corners of Asia and Australia, becoming a truly global species. In more recent times, during the Victorian era, the idea of keeping cats purely for companionship became popular. The first cat shows were held, and people began to breed cats for specific looks and temperaments. This marked the final step in their journey, from wild hunter to useful partner to beloved family member. Nowhere in history were cats more revered than in ancient Egypt. Around 3,500 years ago, their status grew far beyond that of a simple pest controller. The Egyptians admired cats for their elegance, their mysterious nature, and their fierce protectiveness as mothers. They saw these qualities mirrored in their gods and goddesses. The most famous feline deity was Bastet, a goddess who was often depicted with the head of a cat. Initially, she was seen as a fierce protector, like a lioness, but over time she became a gentler goddess of the home, fertility, and childbirth. Families would keep statues of Bastet in their homes to bring good fortune and protect them from evil spirits. The respect for cats was deeply embedded in Egyptian society and law. Harming a cat was considered a terrible crime, and killing one, even by accident, was often punishable by death. When a family's pet cat died, the owners would shave off their eyebrows as a sign of their deep mourning. The dead cat was often mummified with the same care and respect given to a human. Archaeologists have discovered vast cemeteries containing thousands of mummified cats wrapped in fine linen and sometimes placed in ornate coffins. These discoveries show us just how much the Egyptians cherished their feline companions. They believed the cat would continue to be a protector in the afterlife. Cats were not just religious symbols, they were also a part of daily life. Paintings on the walls of tombs often show cats sitting under their owners' chairs, sometimes wearing collars. These images suggest that cats were integrated members of the household. They are shown joining in family activities and sometimes even hunting birds with their human masters in the marshes along the Nile River. This shows a close, affectionate bond that went beyond mere usefulness. The Egyptians didn't just need cats, they truly loved them and enjoyed their company, seeing them as graceful and intelligent friends. The Egyptian adoration for cats played a crucial role in their protection and spread. For a long time, the Egyptians tried to prevent cats from being taken out of their country, viewing them as a national treasure. However, Phoenician traders, known for their skill in smuggling, managed to sneak cats out of Egypt and sell them in port cities around the Mediterranean. This is how the tame Egyptian cats began to travel to places like Greece and Rome. The descendants of these revered Egyptian felines would eventually spread throughout Europe and the rest of the world, carrying a legacy of being worshipped as gods in the land of the pharaohs. While we all know that cats are excellent at catching mice, their helpful talents don't stop there. Throughout history and even today, cats have helped humans in many surprising and important ways. One of their most famous roles has been as the ship's cat. For centuries, life at sea was made possible by these hard-working felines. They protected the ship's food stores from rats and mice, which was vital for the crew's survival on long voyages. But they did more than that. Rats could chew through ropes and wooden parts of the ship, causing dangerous damage. The cats protected the very structure of the vessel, making sea travel safer for everyone on board. Beyond their work on ships, cats have also served in official government roles. For example, the United Kingdom has a long tradition of employing a chief mouser to the Cabinet Office, a cat who lives at 10 Downing Street, the Prime Minister's residence. This cat's official job is to control pests in the historic building. While it's a charming tradition, it also serves a practical purpose. Famous cats like Larry have become beloved public figures, but they are also carrying on the ancient partnership of cats protecting human spaces. Similarly, many post offices, factories, and warehouses have historically kept cats to protect mail and goods from being destroyed by rodents. Cats have also proven to be incredibly beneficial for our health and well-being. Studies have shown that owning a cat can have a calming effect on people. The simple act of stroking a purring cat can lower stress levels and reduce blood pressure. The frequency of a cat's purr, which is between 25 and 150 Hz, is believed to have healing properties. Some research suggests that these vibrations can help heal bones and soft tissues. This might explain why cats often purr when they are injured. For people who are lonely or going through a difficult time, a cat can provide quiet companionship and unconditional affection, which is incredibly therapeutic. In some extraordinary cases, cats have even saved human lives. There are countless stories of cats waking up their owners during a house fire by meowing loudly or pawing at their faces. Their sensitive hearing and sense of smell can detect dangers like gas leaks or smoke long before a human can. Some cats have even been reported to sense when their owner is about to have a medical emergency, like a seizure, and have alerted them or others for help. These incredible acts of loyalty and intelligence show that cats are more than just cute pets. They are alert, caring companions who look out for their human families in ways we are only just beginning to understand. Today, cats are one of the most popular pets in the world. For most cat owners, their value is not about catching mice anymore. We love them for their unique personalities and the special kind of companionship they offer. Every cat is an individual. Some are playful and energetic, always ready for a game with a feather toy. Others are calm and dignified, preferring to watch the world from a sunny windowsill. Some are cuddly lap cats who want constant affection, while others are more independent, showing their love in quieter ways. This variety in personality is one of the reasons why so many different kinds of people find a perfect feline friend. Cats fit very well into modern lifestyles. They are naturally clean animals, and spend a large part of their day grooming themselves. They can be trained to use a litter box, which makes them well suited for living in apartments or homes without large yards. Unlike dogs, they do not need to be taken for daily walks. They are perfectly happy to entertain themselves and are content to be left alone for parts of the day while their owners are at work or school. This independence makes them an ideal pet for busy people who still want the joy and companionship of an animal in their home. They offer affection and friendship on their own terms. The bond between a human and a cat is a special one. It is often built on quiet understanding and mutual respect. A cat chooses when to give affection, so when a cat curls up on your lap and starts to purr, it feels like a genuine gift. They communicate with us through a subtle language of body movements, tail flicks, and soft vocalizations. Learning to understand this language builds a deep connection. People love to watch their cats' graceful movements and playful antics. Their curiosity and mischievousness can bring a lot of laughter and joy into a household, making a house feel more like a home. We also remain fascinated by the wildness that is still visible in our pet cats. When we watch a cat stalk a toy, we are seeing a glimpse of its ancient ancestor, the fierce hunter of the desert. This touch of wild nature makes them endlessly interesting. They are a perfect blend of a wild spirit and a loving companion. They are both independent and affectionate, mysterious and comforting. This dual nature is what captivates us and makes them such enchanting friends. In our modern busy world, the quiet, calming presence of a cat is something many people cherish deeply. From the wild plains of Africa to the cozy corner of our living rooms, the journey of the cat is a remarkable story of adaptation and friendship. They came into our lives on their own terms, drawn by the opportunities our new way of life created. They offered us their incredible hunting skills, and in return, we offered them food, safety, and warmth. This simple, practical arrangement blossomed into one of the most successful partnerships between humans and animals. The cat did not change completely, it simply adapted, keeping its independent spirit while learning to share its life with ours. The bond we share with cats today is the result of thousands of years of shared history. They have been our partners, our protectors, and our symbols of gods. They have sailed the seas with us, protected our food, and warmed our homes. In return, we have made them a part of our families. We care for them, play with them, and talk to them. This relationship is no longer just about practical benefits. It is about emotional connection. The quiet companionship of a cat can ease loneliness, reduce stress, and bring a sense of calm and joy to our daily lives. Even in our modern world, cats continue to be important friends. They remind us of the beauty of nature and the importance of quiet moments. In a world that is often loud and demanding, the simple, graceful presence of a cat can be a source of great comfort. They teach us about independence, resilience, and the value of a warm, safe place to rest. They ask for little, but they give so much in return: their trust, their affection, and their unique and charming company. They are a living link to a wilder past, yet they are perfectly at home in our modern present. The story of the cat is a story of a friendship that was never forced. It grew naturally, built on a foundation of mutual need that turned into mutual affection. They are our purring companions, our silent observers, and our loyal friends. Whether they are chasing a toy mouse across the floor or sleeping peacefully at the foot of our bed, they enrich our lives in countless ways. The African wildcat that first stepped into a human village all those centuries ago started a journey that would forever link our two species. Cats are not just pets, they are a part of our human story, and they will continue to be our important and beloved friends for a long, long time to come.